I can't remember a time where England have gone forward so well, played so well, and looked so dangerous.
But he goes the other way. Really disappointed to concede in the way we did, the way we dropped off.
I think the second half especially, we really showed what we were about and how the team we want to be was showed in the second half. The first half.
He's at the work. England leads for a third time. Jude Bellingham.
At halftime on the 17th of June 2026, inside AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, England manager Tuchel walked into a dressing room that had just gifted Croatia 2 goals without being dominated. His team had led twice. They had conceded twice. A match they were expected to win comfortably had turned into exactly the kind of chaotic, nervy first half that England fans have had nightmares about for decades. What Tuchel said in that room changed everything. According to Kane, speaking to ITV after the match, Tuchel kept it direct. He told his players that if they were going to lose, they would lose their own way. Not cautiously, not by sitting back and protecting a lead that had already disappeared twice. They would go after the game on their own terms or not at all. England came out in the second half and completely destroyed Croatia. The final score was 4-2, and the result does not fully capture how commanding England were after the break. They won a match that had been chaotic, emotional, and full of the kind of defensive errors that usually cost England tournaments, and they did it by deciding collectively to stop playing scared and start playing football. Welcome to Akinkunmi Sports Hub TV. This is the England story from Dallas, and it is one worth paying close attention to. The weight of history coming into this game. Before we talk about what happened on the pitch, there is some important context about why this particular fixture always carries extra meaning for England. The last time these two nations met at a World Cup was in the 2018 semi-final in Russia. England played well enough in that game, but Croatia came back from a goal down to win 2-1 in extra time, ending one of England's most promising tournament campaigns in years. That night in Moscow put Luka Modric and his generation of Croatian players into legend, and it left England wondering what might have been. 8 years later, both teams returned to the same stage. Modric, now 40 years old, was still starting for Croatia. He extended his own national record by appearing in his 5th World Cup, which is a remarkable piece of endurance for a player who has been one of the best midfielders in the world for over 15 years. He was there to slow things down, read the game, and punish mistakes, exactly the way Croatia always do. England came in under new management. Thomas Tuchel, the German coach who won the Champions League with Chelsea in 2021, took over the England job and was making his World Cup debut as a national team manager. He had spent 17 days with this squad preparing for this moment. The question going into the game was not whether England had enough talent. The squad they assembled is genuinely one of the deepest in the tournament. The question was whether they had the maturity and the system to use that talent properly when it mattered. For 45 minutes, the answer was unclear. For 45 minutes after that, the answer was very much yes. If you are new here, subscribe to Akinkunmi Sports Hub TV. We break down what actually happened beyond the highlights so you understand the real story. Let us get into it. A first half that summed up every England problem. The match kicked off, and England looked sharp in the early exchanges. Noni Madueke drove into the box in the 9th minute. Luka Modric tried to intercept with his leg, and the referee pointed to the spot. Penalty to England. Kane stepped up. He hit the penalty well,
Dominik Livakovic guessed right and saved it, but the referee called for a retake after VAR review showed both Livakovic's feet were off the line when Kane struck the ball, and that Croatia defender Josko Gvardiol had encroached into the area. On the second attempt, Kane sent the keeper the wrong way and scored 1-0. That goal made history immediately. Kane had now scored in 3 consecutive World Cups, something only David Beckham had done for England before him. He had also scored 9 World Cup goals in total, one away from equaling Gary Lineker's all-time England record of 10 goals, set across the 1986 and 1990 tournaments.
England looked comfortable for a while after the penalty. Then Croatia showed why tournament experience matters. In the 36th minute, Peter Sukic laid the ball across the edge of the box to Martin Baturina, who curled a precise, powerful shot into the corner past Jordan Pickford. It was an excellent goal, and it exposed the central problem that had been building for several minutes. Croatia were finding gaps between England's midfield and defensive lines. Mudryk kept dropping deep and dragging England's press out of position. The spaces Mudryk created were then being used by the players around him, and England were not reacting quickly enough to close them. 6 minutes later, Kane answered. Declan Rice delivered a corner from the left. Kane lost his marker completely and powered a downward header into the net. 2-1 England. Kane had now equaled Gary Lineker's England World Cup record of 10 goals across 3 tournaments. Lineker set that record over the 1986 and 1990 tournaments. Kane matched it inside 42 minutes of the first game of 2026. But Croatia were not finished. Deep into first-half stoppage time, Ivan Perisic nodded a clipped ball over England's defensive line, and Peter Musa, who actually plays club football for FC Dallas and had the home crowd roaring, volleyed it through Jordan Pickford's legs. 2-2. The halftime whistle blew immediately after. England had led twice and been pegged back twice. They had conceded as many first-half goals in that one game as they had in the entire first halves of their previous 21 matches combined across all competitions. The assistant manager, Anthony Barry, had described the performance to English television at the interval as confusing. It was an honest assessment. The second Croatia equalizer, in particular, was the one that should have concerned Tuchel most. England had a back 7 defending in their own box and still left Musa completely unmarked at the far post. That is not a defensive system failing. That is concentration and communication breaking down under pressure. And those are exactly the details that eliminate teams in the knockout rounds of World Cups. What changed at halftime? This is where the character of this England team revealed itself. Tuchel walked into that dressing room, and instead of tactical diagrams and complicated instructions, he gave his players something simpler and more powerful. He told them that if they were going to lose this game, they would lose it playing their own football, pressing high, attacking with pace, going at every ball, not sitting back, not protecting, not hoping. Kane described the message afterwards as the manager telling them that they would lose their way if they had to lose at all, and that the second half showed exactly what that meant because they came out completely different. Jude Bellingham added his own perspective in his post-match interview. He said it was not one of those halftime talks full of big drama and shouting. It was calm, mature, and direct. The group was experienced enough to know what needed fixing and why they had not been at their level in the first half. Tuchel simply pointed them at the problem and told them to go solve it. 2 minutes into the second half, Bellingham received a long pass from Elliot Anderson on the right side of the box, held off Mario Pasalic, drove in towards goal, and sent a low shot off the far post and in. 3-2 England.
That goal was everything Tuchel had asked for. Bellingham did not wait for the game to invite him. He took it. He ran at the problem, kept his body between the defender and the ball, and finished with complete clarity. It was a goal that told Croatia the entire dynamic had shifted. How England finished the job. From the 47th minute onward, England were a completely different team from the one that had spent the first half looking uncertain and passive. Declan Rice drove forward from midfield and delivered 2, 3, 4 successive corner kicks that had Croatia scrambling to clear. Bellingham pressed every Croatian touch with real aggression. Anthony Gordon and Madueke stretched Croatia's defensive line on both sides. Livakovic was the busiest player on the pitch, making saves off Rice, Kane, and multiple other England attempts, as the chances kept arriving from different angles. Modric was substituted off in the 58th minute, replaced by Mateo Kovacic. At 40 years old, the legs could not sustain the tempo England were imposing. That moment was a signal to everyone watching. When Croatia's best player, the man who has controlled midfield matches at the highest level for 20 years, cannot survive the pace England are setting at 3-2, the match is effectively over. Then Tuchel went to the bench, and the picture got genuinely frightening for Croatia. In the 71st minute, Bukayo Saka, Marcus Rashford, and Morgan Rogers came on simultaneously. These are not impact substitutes in the normal sense. Saka was the best player in the Premier League at Arsenal this season and arrived carrying his club form directly onto the World Cup stage. Rashford had scored 4 substitute goals for England over his career before this tournament, a record among active England players behind only Jermaine Defoe. Rogers brought fresh legs, pressing energy, and the kind of ball-carrying ability that tires defenders who have already run for 70 minutes. England had given Croatia the door back into this game in the first half. England's fresh legs now slammed it shut completely. In the 85th minute, Saka received the ball on the right and drove at Croatia's defensive line. He waited, held the ball until the right moment opened, then slid a precise pass inside to Rashford, who cut inside his defender with one touch and rolled the ball calmly into the far corner. 4-2. Game over. The numbers at full time told the complete story of what the second half had been. England finished the match with 22 shots and 12 on target. Croatia managed 11 attempts overall, with an expected goals figure of just 0.71, which means almost none of their chances were genuinely threatening on a statistical basis. England's expected goals figure was 2.8, meaning the quality of their chances was real and deserved to produce goals. What this result means and what it does not. This is where we need to be honest, because this is what good football analysis requires. England were brilliant in the second half. The pressing was sharp. The depth of the squad was on full display. Kane equaled a record that has stood for nearly 40 years. Bellingham confirmed that he is growing into one of the defining players of this tournament. The bench changed a game and produced a goal that will be remembered in the highlights packages for years. But Croatia scored twice without ever dominating the match. They did not overwhelm England at any point. They simply waited for England to make errors and punished them cleanly when those errors arrived. That is what experienced tournament teams do, and the teams still to come in this World Cup are even better at it than Croatia. If England give the same defensive transitions to France, Argentina, Brazil, or Spain, the result will not be 4-2 to England. At that level, you do not get a second chance to fix it in the second half. You get punished once, and you do not come back. Tuchel acknowledged this himself after the match. He said he loved the reaction of his players in the second half, but was very clear that England had been too focused on protecting a lead that had already gone, and that a back seven in their own box had still failed to defend the goal properly. Those are the exact details that end tournaments. The real picture of this England squad is that it has genuine attacking depth across multiple positions. A captain in Kane, who is still producing when the pressure is highest. A midfielder in Bellingham, who plays the biggest moments without flinching. And a bench that would compete for starting spots at almost any other team in this tournament. The real picture is also that the defensive concentration and emotional management under pressure still has room to improve before they face the elite teams later in the tournament.
Ghana and Panama still to come in Group L gives Tuchel the space to continue building the system and getting the squad sharper without the immediate pressure of a must-win knockout match. That breathing room is valuable, and England need to use it properly. After one game, England are not world champions, but they are also not the same team that has spent decades leaving tournaments earlier than the talent in the squad should ever allow. There was something different in the second half in Dallas. Whether that difference holds when the real tests come is the only question that matters now. Let us know in the comments what you think England's biggest weakness is going into the knockout rounds. And if you want us to break down their next game against Ghana or do a deep analysis on Tuchel's system, drop that in the comments too. Subscribe to Akinkunmi Sports Hub TV, hit the notification bell, and stay with us for the full World Cup 2026 coverage.